Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashley Johnson, and I am the Business and Outreach Librarian at the Vernon Area Library. And I'm happy to welcome our speaker, Rebecca Hoffman, today. She's going to talk to us a little bit more about small business marketing, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say. Before we jump in, I want to remind everyone that the Vernon Area Library has a host of programs available for you to watch digitally and a few that you can even view in person. You just need to visit our website at vapld.info and register there. That being said, this is one of those exciting programs, and I'd like to introduce our speaker, Rebecca Hoffman. She's the founder of Good Aid Concepts, a strategic communications consultancy, drawing upon 30 years of communications, marketing, branding expertise earned while working for art museums, universities, and companies. Rebecca leads creative projects of every stripe. She has developed deep niches of experience working with nonprofits, community organizations, professional service firms, sole proprietors, and emerging businesses. And she's passionate about local business and truly enjoys working with her clients to help them achieve their ambitious brand marketing and communication goals. Thank you for coming today, Rebecca. All from the comfort of our own homes, the beauty of this crazy time. So with that, I'll hand it over to you and encourage our participants to use the chat feature and the Q&A if at any point you have a question. And I have been encouraged by Rebecca to interrupt and ask those questions, so don't be afraid to do so. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Ashley, and hi, everyone. Yes, my name's Rebecca Hoffman, and I'm a strategic communications and marketing brand building consultant, and I'm based in the northern suburbs, but I work all over the place, and I work with a lot of smaller businesses, independent businesses, and professional services, companies, and organizations in a variety of ways. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about marketing a small business, and the timing is perfect, Ashley, because we're at the start of the fourth quarter. And typically the start of the fourth quarter is when all of my clients and pretty much everybody in business starts to realize, January is around the corner. And so we have kind of two things we have to focus on, which is finishing the year strong. And for a lot of organizations, the fourth quarter is very busy for many reasons, whether it's retail or service industry or holiday or something, and then looking really immediately toward January for any shifts or changes or things that we want to do to begin a new year. So with that, I will share my screen and share with you some slides that I think will find helpful for talking about small business marketing. And I want to say thank you for having me too at the Vernon Area Library. This is a treat. And if people have a question as we go, just please interrupt me with the chat with a question or a comment, and we can stop and discuss it. And I'll try to fit everything into our hour that we have together. So really the thing to think about is testing, succeeding, and repeating. And with all of the tactics we'll talk about today, there is no perfect formula, especially for smaller businesses. So you have to be okay with testing things to see what really works well for your business or your practice. And from there, you can go deeper on any methods that really seem to work well for you. So, as you really do already know, that our focus of marketing shifted during this pandemic. And at first it was pretty scary. And now we're really finding there are some efficiencies. Ashley and I were talking about how being able to do things virtually often saves time and money and resources, and we can do so much more in a shorter period of time in many instances. Something that you probably are aware of, but maybe not fully, is that digital marketing was always important, but never more so than now because of the way we're working. And so thinking about digital marketing tactics is really as important as thinking about conventional marketing tactics. And I'll address both during our time together. At first, conventional marketing.
Sorry, can I
Sure.
interrupt you? Can you go into presenter mode just for the recording? It'll be a little easier to view it.
Where is that? Let's see, where.
If you hit the slideshow up at the top, or if you go to
looking, I don't see it. Let's see, where is it?
On the bottom right-hand corner, do you see how there's that little screen next to it's like on to the right of the negative sign all the way over?
Yep.
That, yeah, hit that one.
Okay, great.
And then you should be able to just arrow.
Sure. Okay. So perfect. So conventional marketing became less important and is now more important again because we are getting together more. There are opportunities to provide brochures. A lot of my clients are doing mailings now, things that kind of went silent for the first few months. And now is the time to start thinking about how to harness those again in tandem with the digital. Um, a question that I think I'd ask pretty much anyone is how did you adjust in this last year? And so it's not necessarily a question you have to answer right now, but something you should think about, or you could type into the chat if you'd like. How did you adjust so far this year, and what will you be thinking about doing as we go into fourth quarter and into the new year? A lot of my clients enhance their websites. They had to do this because they really weren't prepared to turn up high in search results um, because they just hadn't done the work. And so that's become an area where you need that even in the professional services, maybe even more so. Did you make an email marketing list? Did you increase where you were advertising? There were some misconceptions. People said, "Well, who's advertising these days?" And the truth is, a lot of people were. There were a lot of good deals, and there's continue to be good deals on advertising because people are at home and people are reading. And so it's worth considering radio spots. It's worth considering local print advertising in certain publications, and it's worth considering how to adjust to continue to adjust what you're offering to. Help your customers find you because most consumers now, for whatever the purpose, are doing their research and their due diligence online. So here's some trends, and I'm sure that some of them are ones that you've used and maybe some that you're thinking about. If you have questions, just type in the chat the question about any of these. So SEO, search engine optimization tactics. These are things that are not typically so visible on the outside, but they're essential. This is a lot of the work that gets done on the backside of your website. Meta tagging, image tagging, content using keywords that you can do research, or someone that you hire can do research to help you know what are the keywords people are using in your area or your consumers to find a business like yours. And tied to that is Google AdWords. This is money well spent in some markets. Now, sometimes it's just too expensive, so it doesn't work for a business, but it's something to consider, and paid search is worth considering depending on what business you're in. In some channels, it's extremely competitive and really very necessary. Paid search, it will increase your chances of people finding your business. When people search, and I'll just use Google as an example, they really don't get much past the first or second page of search results. So you want to make sure that when someone is searching for what you do, that your business turns up very high in the search results, ideally in the top 5 positions, so they just see it right away. Video. Think about this. People like to read, people like to watch, people like to listen. Video is a good place to invest some money and test some approaches. And I always, when I have a client that's thinking about video, I always suggest to them, make your videos less than 2 minutes, unless there's some reason to have them be longer. Have them be produced without looking artificial or saccharine. And by that, I mean you need kind of a plan, possibly a script, although I think often it's possible to have a videographer interview you with, questions that you already can answer and interlace with that other video to show your work, to show your products, and put together something beautiful with kind of good front matter and back matter so that any video that you provide is really well produced and something that you can put on your website, share on your social channels, and offer to people as a way for them to kind of get a sense of not just who you are, but what your product or services are. And tied to that is podcasts. This is a great way to reach people. I can't tell you how many people I know and I hear about. They go out for a walk. I've heard people say when they fold their laundry, they listen to podcasts. if you want to create a podcast, it's pretty easy to do. Or if you want to be a guest on a podcast, that's not too hard to find either in an area of specialty that you may have. And again, this ties into people's senses. You have the readers, you have the watchers, and you have listeners. And a podcast is a wonderful way to reach people who just want to listen and learn. And it's an opportunity that any small business owner has to educate people about their products or services or teach people about why what they do matters. Social media channels, there are so many. And people often say to me, well, which ones should I be on? And it's different for every business. There's some obvious suspects: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, depending on the age group that you're trying to reach, and many others that you could consider. Think a little more broadly about your social channels as also being Yelp, potentially service providing directories like Angie's List or Avo if you're an attorney, Google. It all kind of counts in the direction of social. And we'll talk a little more about this a little later in the presentation. But as a small business owner, my recommendation is to start with one and get good at using that channel. And if you need help, get help from someone like me or using online help directories, and get to know that channel. And then add in a second one and a third one if it's appropriate for your business. But don't try to do it all at once, because frequently small business owners will find it's just too much and that they really are struggling. Something to think about. YouTube is really a massive opportunity. Again, if you're going to produce any sort of video, that's a great place to publish it because you have such a wide and ready audience, particularly if you use keywords to describe it and produce it in such a way that you're proud of it, that people will search for it and be glad that they saw what you provided. It's a great brand builder. And don't forget hashtags. A lot of people use them incorrectly. A lot of people think hashtags are a place to provide an opinion or an editorial comment. Like, you could put up a piece of content on Facebook on your business page. Isn't it a beautiful day in the Chicagoland area? And then you could have a hashtag that says something like, fall weather is the best. The problem with that is most people are not searching for fall weather is the best. They're searching for September weather, or the weather in Vernon Hills, or something that would be a search term that they would look for. Like in my business, common hashtags would be digital marketing trends, marketing, or even my company's name, Good Egg Concepts. So your hashtags are really a place to provide the search engines more information about what this piece of content is offering. So if you're publishing content about why you should have your roof serviced before winter comes, you'll want to have hashtags around winter roof servicing and roof repair, or your company name, versus holes in the roof are a bad thing in winter. That's not something people are searching for. So give that some thought and test hashtags in all of your social media content. It will help people who are searching find your content faster. Facebook for business. So a lot of people use Facebook for business, and you should. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and don't understand that their individual Facebook page is not their business page. You must have an individual Facebook page to create a business page. Facebook does its best to try to make sure that real humans are making the pages that you can find when you search. So your business page has to have, at the most primary level, it has to tree off your individual page. And then I recommend, when you make your business page, make sure you assign one or two or even three people as admins to your page in case you get locked out, which does happen more than I'd like to tell you that it does. It happens a lot. And those people can also help in case a comment needs to be made based on a piece of content you've published. When you deputize people to work on your Facebook page, it's like giving people a spare key to your office so they can let themselves in and make sure coffee is made before there's a meeting. And you would assign that to people who you trust or who you work closely with. Facebook is really essential for promoting businesses, products, and services. And the reason why it is because it offers a perfect mix of text and image. So if you do your part, which is to provide interesting content and interesting imagery where appropriate, it's going to be a good read, and people will be very glad that they saw it in their reading stream. If you boost on Facebook, you can't boost from an individual page, but you can boost from a business page. And boosting is Facebook's word for advertising. The great thing about boosting is it's a very low cost way to see what your audience cares about. And you can aim your posts to specific audience groups. And a couple that are really good is to people who are friends of people who like this page. So if I like the Vernon Area Library's Facebook page, uh, there's a high likelihood that some of my friends would care too. So that if I comment or like a piece of content that Ashley's group posts, um, my friends will see that, and there's a good chance they're going to care too. So that's one great way to boost. And the other is to custom audiences that you create. And custom audiences are literally, you tell Facebook the characteristics of a group that would care about what you're posting. So if you own a dog walking business, you may want to create a custom audience for people who have dogs within a 1 mile radius of your business. And you do that by using the zip code and the affinity for dogs and dog walking, and things of that nature. And then Facebook will look. It literally matches the person who was searching on Google for dog walkers near me, suddenly goes into their Facebook and sees your ad for dog walking services. And it does this sort of algorithmic matching, which is where it's really the sweet spot of advertising on Facebook. It's really important for you to make sure all your business information is correct. Sometimes things change. Sometimes you move, sometimes you get a new telephone number, sometimes there's new product information that you want to share. Make sure all the information you're providing is correct, and complete your profile to the best that you can. If you don't have a brick and mortar office, you don't need to put an address. But if you do have a retail location, make sure the address is correct. If you can, publish regularly. 1 to 3 times a week is ideal. That's a lot of good content that you could be generating and sharing with your audience, and try to vary the content so that it's really very interesting to people. And you really want to create a flow of authentic voiced information. And what that means is take a moment and think about, what does your business sound like? Some businesses sound like professors. Some businesses sound like authorities. Some businesses are kind of playful and funny or informative. Some are warm and compassionate and caring. And often it's a blend. So when you talk for your business on a social channel, make sure that the language that you're using really matches who your business is, the tone of it. You almost have to think of your business like it's its own living thing. And what would it sound like if it was at a party talking? Always tag and link credible sources and join forces. As an example, I'm doing some work with a house of worship. They purchased some custom cookies from someone in their congregation who makes sort of fancy frosted cookies. And when they got these cookies that they ordered, they took a photograph of it, and then they tagged the cookie business and thanked them for making such beautiful treats for the group. Uh, what this did was it linked the house of worship to the cookie business, and then the audiences of those two distinct groups each saw the content. And so it provided a beautiful opportunity for two businesses to kind of portray or show a strategic partnership that they have. When you can do this, it's really great. I've seen businesses do this very effectively in communities where they'll tag in their local fire department because they did a collection or a fundraiser to raise money for something, or they'll tag in a strategic partner organization. If you sell shoes and you've got a strategic partner that sells socks, tag each other in your content and allow people to see these interesting connections that you have. Um, think about publishing video. Just make sure it's well produced, authentic, and brief. I've seen my clients make mistakes where they'll say, we got to do a Facebook Live. This is going to be great. And then you watch the Facebook Live and it's a little rough, or there's some junk in the background, or an odd sound off to the side that couldn't be controlled, and it's not really edited. It's not a great view, right? So if you can and you want to, and you're testing video, I recommend doing a little work to publish good stuff. Ashley told me before this call that the Vernon Area Library has some equipment you can borrow. And Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, it's GoPro videos, other kinds of video and audio equipment. Maybe there's some editing equipment.
Yeah, all of those things.
And in better times, there's also studio options in some of the libraries in the areas. You could call ahead and see who's allowing people to come in. But I know like the Skokie Library has a studio space you can use. So if you wanted to have someone video you, you could do it in their kind of well-produced studio to make sure everything sounds and looks right with good lighting. Your library has a lot of free resources that you can draw upon. And Ashley is a tremendous resource because she knows what's available that you can use to help support your business. And I think if you do have questions like that, even after this session, reach out to her and her staff to find out more because I think a lot of small business owners worry about the expense of things, and a lot of things can be done very affordably, and your library is a great asset to help you do that. Um, and then I always say publish a lot. Try different things, mix up the content, and test what really works with your audience. And I believe everyone is always surprised by what people really like and what they find meaningful on social channels. LinkedIn is very important for a small business owner. Doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a roofer, a florist, a dog walker, a lawyer, it does not matter. Have a fully composed LinkedIn profile. Maintain your profile. Make sure that you complete as much of the information on your profile as you can. And please note, they often change what's available on a profile in terms of settings. So I recommend maybe once or twice a year go into the platform and review your profile and look to see if any information has changed and you want to adjust it, or if there's any information you've not yet provided that you should, such as languages you've learned, or certifications that you have, or awards that you've won, or professional experiences that you have, or products that you offer. Try to have at least 500 contacts on LinkedIn. And it's a little different than Facebook. I would say link with people you know, link with people you do work with, and link with people in your industry who you have admiration for, even if you don't see them a lot. And then personalize your URL. So LinkedIn, when you make your account, it'll say like linkedin.com and then have like a lot of gobbledygook. That's your computer code that links to your profile, but you can change that. So mine, for example, is linkedin.com /in/ Rebecca Ann Hoffman. And so I could tell somebody this, or it can go on any marketing documentation I create to people can find me easier that way. Uh, Make sure you populate your profile with two images, the profile image and the cover image. So there's two places at the top of every profile for a box image, which should be probably your headshot, and a cover image, which if you don't populate it, you get a templated image of a network diagram that just says to the outside looker, this is not a complete profile. And the image that you can put for the cover could be any image you find beautiful or relevant to what you sell. If you're a chocolatier, a close-up shot of your chocolates. If you're a florist, a close-up shot of your flowers. If you're a dog walker, it could be a picture of your furry friends or a beautiful path that you walk the dogs on, and you can change it. And people like to see these images. Make sure you also link your professional experience in your business page. So when you make your profile, let's say you worked for a couple different companies, you want to make sure you provide the URL to those companies so that LinkedIn connects you to it. So if you worked for Amoco Oil before you did whatever job you're doing now, make sure that you're properly linked to Amoco Oil. And you'll know if you're properly linked because you'll see the logo from their business page on your profile. If you don't link properly, you get a gray box that again looks incomplete and says to somebody looking from the outside, they haven't put in the time to complete this. Another way to engage with LinkedIn is to offer recommendations and request recommendations. There, toward the bottom of every profile, there's an option to offer recommendations. So, for example, if you are doing some work with someone, you can recommend them. Or they can recommend you. And it's a very easy function there where you can invite the recommendation through the platform or offer one to them, and then they can just publish it when they see it and they're ready to publish it. And it's great because it shows some of the connections that you have with other people. And it also allows people to read very specific comments that others have made about you and your work and your products and services that allow them to know you a little bit and potentially make a decision about you as a service provider to them. And then build a network of people you know. It's ever expanding, and LinkedIn has a wonderful functionality of people you may know, or it will drill down. And if you worked for J. Walter Thompson Advertising, it'll say people you may know from J. Walter Thompson. And you kind of look through it, and it does a lot of matchmaking and try to link with people that you know. And again, where you can, publish content every week. Be sincere, authentic. Shameless self promotional content is okay. When you win an award, when you achieve something in your industry, tell people about it. Share your expertise. Showcase your successes and resources that you have. And similarly, create a LinkedIn company page. This you can do once you have a personal page, and it's very similar in functionality to Facebook. Um, and it allows you to do a couple of things. If you have employees, they can all link to the company page. Let's say you have 20 employees and everyone has a LinkedIn profile and everyone links to your company page. Suddenly you're telling LinkedIn, hey, we're a place of importance. And it allows outsiders to see how people are connected around any given business. Ask your employees to follow and link to the page. And if you're publishing content from your company page, ask your employees to share that content as a matter of pride. Publish, again, just like you would on your personal page, really well-voiced, authentic content, and tag credible sources if you're connecting or showing a strategic partnership. And when you do this, you're going to build evangelism among your followers. And evangelism is a funny word. And what I really mean is like extreme enthusiasm, the way we see that for Apple products and Apt electronics and cookie bakeries and things of that nature. And it's okay to publish things in your industry that we call shareable or snackable content lists. What are the top 3 things you need to know before December for tax planning? What are the 5 things you should consider when shopping for a dog walker? And so on and so on. When you do this, you bring your company page to life and you allow outsiders to get to know your business more. If there's questions, please stop me at any time or I'll just keep going. Google panel. You probably know about the Google panel, and to varying degrees, you may have populated your Google panel. Just as an overview, the Google panel is when you go on Google and search for something. In this case here, I have a screen grab of dandelion chocolate, and we can see that they have an optimized profile. They've got 143 Google reviews. That's pretty good. You can see below that it says chocolate shop, so that if I'm typing into Google chocolate shops near me, you can bet that dandelion chocolate's going to show up if I'm in the area of this place. And then they provide their information and their opening hours and so on. You want to make sure that you claim your Google profile, number 1. Number 2, make sure all information on it is correct. Make sure if someone asks a question that you answer it. So someone may ask a question through your profile like, do you sell sugar-free chocolate? You can answer that question. And now consumers on the outside can see something about your business that they may not have known or they may care about. Add photos. If you're a florist, a dog walker, a chocolate shop, doesn't matter what, a shoe store, add photos. Add photos of your professional team. Include your company logo. Then you need to invite your customers to write reviews. When people write reviews, Google goes, aha, this business is active. If I have 2 chocolate shops that have different numbers of reviews, 143, and let's say chocolate shop number 2 has 5 reviews. The one with 143 reviews will show up higher in search results than the one with 5 reviews, simply because Google values the reviews and says, okay, this place is doing a lot of business. They probably are ready to do more business. You come higher in search. Therefore, you want to make sure you're inviting reviews. And you need to respond to reviews. So someone may give you 4 stars and say, this is a really great place, but I couldn't find parking. Someone else may give you 5 stars and say, I can't imagine a better truffle in America. And someone could give you 1 star and say, I went in there and there was no salesperson to help me. And no matter what they say, make a comment back that's useful. For the 1 star, say, call us. We would like to make this right, and we'd like to get your address, and we'll send you a free box of chocolate for your troubles. And for the 4 and 5 star reviews, thank them for that and comment back about the parking. it shows that there's humans behind the business, and other humans look at these comments and assess how it is. If you have no reviews, you're wide open to get a bad review, and then you've got a problem. Because then, if you have no reviews and suddenly you get a bad review, anybody who happens upon your profile might think, this place is probably not very good, and go look for another service provider or business. If you have 143 reviews like this organization and suddenly they get a 1-star review, it's a lot less of a problem because consumers know sometimes people have a bad day at a business, sometimes something goes wrong, sometimes people are just complainers. But in any case, you want to make sure that you're representing your business in the best possible light. And you can do this on Google. They help you with this. And populating the panel is important. Make sure you also publish any updates. If you change your hours, if you move the business, if you have whole new products, if you suddenly are dandelion chocolate and orange juice, make sure you tell people about the orange juice product. But more than anything, make the most of this because this drives traffic to your website, to your brick and mortar store, to your social media channels, and more. Reviews and ratings can happen two ways. One is just organic reviews and ratings and just hope that people will write a review of your business, or maybe as a follow-up to any service or business transaction, you send them a note to say, please make a review. Consumers are your best influencers. If someone likes your business and talks about it, that's fantastic. You will go higher in search results the more reviews you have. Due diligence is happening online, and reviews really help customers understand the nature of your business. So you want to make sure that you either invite these reviews yourself or subscribe to an online review platform where you supply the names of your customers, which is really valuable in instances where you feel uncomfortable asking for reviews or the scale of people is too great. Let's say you have a house painting business or a roofing business, and maybe you're servicing 20 or 30 customers a day through your staff. All those people should be invited to make a review, and it would be very difficult to do this one by one by one, and it's a lot easier if you use a review platform. Let me see what else I should tell you here. Every industry has different platforms on which it's rated. So for example, attorneys receive reviews on a platform called Avo. People who work in the home maintenance and home care industries often get reviews on Angie's List or the Better Business Bureau. Yelp is one that's used a lot, not just in retail, but restaurants, service providers. You want to request and respond to reviews on any of those channels. I've seen too many business owners kind of act like those things don't exist. And that's a real problem for them because then they end up with kind of a lot of sort of raw, untended comment that could cast the business in a negative light for people that are searching. And if you use a review platform, you systematize the invitations to review your business and it depersonalizes it. So it makes it a little bit easier for people who are your customers, especially if you have a lot of customers, as restaurants do and shoe stores and bakeries and so on. It allows people to feel comfortable giving an authentic and true review. So all of that was digital. But we can't forget conventional. And traditional marketing is all the things that we know were going on before COVID, and they kind of went on hiatus, and now they're all back again. So the savvy small business marketer does a lot of different things and tests a lot of different things. And stop me if any of these are ones you want to talk a little more about. But for example, advertising. People are still reading more and seeing ads, especially right now. People are home a bit more. They read newspapers that are mailed to households and magazines. They read all kinds of information that's coming through in different channels. Print marketed collateral. So printed marketing collateral is anything from your business cards to leave behinds, one sheets, brochures, annual reports, overviews, case studies, all of these things you should think of as a gift that you have to give. And when you give somebody something, you want to make sure that when they receive it, they want to say thanks instead of, uh-oh, I don't really want to read this. And the way you know you need printed marketing collateral is if you find yourself handing people Word documents Excel documents, PowerPoint decks. If that's what you're giving your customers, it's time to design them and brand them and make them more part of your business offering and turn them into gifts you have to give instead of something that's a burden on the recipient. Um, Direct mail is coming back. And I always ask people, when was the last time you received an interesting piece of mail? And the answer is different per person. But we always remember when something interesting comes in the mail, we set it aside. And sometimes it's what we're looking for, and sometimes it's unexpected. The house of worship that I mentioned did a mailing to a community it felt would be responsive to their direct mail piece, and it was. People called them as a result of the direct mail piece. It didn't cost much money, and it was worth doing. So I recommend to businesses to consider how they might make direct mail a part of their marketing effort because people remember good mail. They remember a good letter, they remember a good postcard, they remember something that comes in the mail, a card, an offer, when it's unexpected. Executive letters, you know a lot. You're a subject matter expert and you can communicate this with a letter. So, for example, if you have a house painting business, you might want to write a letter to all of the people who've used your services going back 24 months, or buy a zip code and mail a beautiful one-page letter on your beautiful letterhead, inviting them to consider whatever services you want to promote to them. It's a great way to reach people because letters stand out. Promotional items. So if you give good gifts, people will remember you. Uh, Promotional items can be any number of things. They can be insulated cups, they can be fleece vests, they can be mugs and notebooks, you name it. You can print your brand on just about anything. I have excellent resource for promotional items. If you ever need it, I can share that with you. But I think there's a lot of people who work in this industry who do beautiful work, and you can consult with them about you have to ask, what would one of my customers like to receive from my company? And that's the thing to make and give it as a gift. Media coverage is very special when you can get it. When you can get the press to interview you as a subject matter expert, when you can get a journalist to write about the business that you own, or products that you're offering, or services that you're offering, it's better than an ad. When there's an article in the local newspaper about your business, you'll want to share that on your social channels, on your website. You'll want to make sure people know. But it's a fantastic way to help the public know about your business. Doesn't matter what you do. So if you can get media coverage, you should absolutely go for that. And one way to look for it is to go to the website that's called Help a Reporter Out and register. And they send 3 emails every business day, a morning, a midday, and an evening one, with requests that journalists have for comment or expertise around any topic you can imagine. And every day is different on Help a Reporter Out. But it's a fabulous free way to position your business, answer questions that journalists might have, and seek media coverage. You can also make a short list of journalists who you think would care about what you do and pitch them a story. And join good groups. Make sure you join your local chamber of commerce, do focus networking, use your alumni associations or your local houses of worship and other places where people get together and build community. And that's where you can advance your business or your practice very frequently. And don't forget to use your library resources. As Ashley noted, there's a lot of free materials available at libraries. Something people don't realize is frequently you can make mailing lists at the library with the National Change of Address database, which, mailing lists cost a lot of money and you can do it for free at most libraries. So that's something to consider as you think about direct mail. Putting it all together, what do you think you'll work on for this fourth quarter? And what do you think you'll work on in 2022? I mean, it's hard to believe that we're already talking about the new year, but here we are. Are there any trends or tools that interest you the most? I think these are the ones that you should consider first. Is there one that feels easier or harder for you? And think about why that is. Do you need a little technical support, or are you just a little scared to try something? When you think about this and prioritize it, you'll come up with a way to put it all together and make it work for your business. I think we have a little time now to chat. If there's questions or thoughts or comments, I'd be happy to chat with you about any very specific things that you may have in mind. I'll stop sharing. If you need to reach me, I will share this presentation with Ashley. You can always find me on Facebook through Good Egg Concepts. You can always email me, and I'm always happy to chat. Just mention that you heard this presentation and we can talk more from there.
Thank you, Rebecca.
My pleasure.
It was really good. I teach a class on all of that Google business stuff, which I'm a huge I guess I'll say proponent, even though it seems like, with some of these large companies, it's like you don't necessarily want to drink all the Kool-Aid, but it's almost essential that you do. You have
Yep.
to
Yep.
you have to play their game, and they kind of reward you. I think you mentioned it, that like
Yep.
if they see engagement happening,
Right.
they will kind of give you boosts for that.
Yep.
Maybe boost isn't the word, but
Right.
they'll make you appear big.
Well, they do, and
Bigly.
they really do. They do, and they allow small businesses to compete with large businesses just the same. And so, during this pandemic time, a lot of people put their marketing budgets on hold. And that created giant opportunities for local businesses. And the Google panel looks like not much, but if you populate it correctly and answer all the options and questions and fill it in with a 750 character summary using keywords, you're going to win business. And if you have
Mhm.
reviews, even more so.
I think the reviews piece is very, very important, because unless you're engaged in the program, the Google program, you
Right.
can't reply.
Right.
And that replying to online, even if it's not, anywhere, it's a
Right.
very, very good point that as a business owner, you need to reply and you need to
If you
engage.
can, yeah, if you can, definitely do. And obviously, if it's just too much and you can't, that's okay too. But if you get a negative review, especially reply, because people watch to see how does the business deal with an adverse situation. And it allows you a chance to possibly win a customer back, because sometimes there's misunderstandings or things don't go quite right. I mean, we're all human. But you get to demonstrate that, which is really valuable to people who are kind of watching from the sidelines.
Mhm.
I think did we just get a
Mhm.
comment or a
Yeah,
question?
somebody
Let's see.
mentioned, thanks for bringing up direct mail. They've been recently considering
Oh,
it and
yeah.
just got a great idea as how to make it interesting and unique for their business.
Wonderful. And I can add the United States Postal Service, as complicated as it is, really wants to do business. And they have something called Every Door Direct Mail, EDDM. You get all this stuff in the mail from realtors, from, all kinds of
The
like flat.
library, that's how the library sends
Yeah.
stuff.
And
Hmm.
it's all oversized flat cards of different sizes that are not typical. So you can't use that for a letter or like a catalog, but you could do like a big piece. And all you have to do is work with a printer. They'll help specify. So you can pick a zip code. For example, the town I live in has 3,000 households. And if I want to mail to everyone, it costs about $600. And my printing is probably $400 to $600. So for about $1,000, maybe a touch more, they will deliver my postcard to every single person in my town. I don't necessarily want that, but there's businesses who do. And so I've used this with clients in different zip codes, and it's phenomenal and it's cheap and good. So don't be afraid to test a zip code. If you're a dog walker and there's a particular zip code you
Hmm.
want to walk in, mail to that zip code. I mean, the realtors do it masterfully.
I was going to
And
say realtors are the ones that
yep,
really take advantage of that.
absolutely. But any industry could do it. A pizzeria could do it, a roofer,
Hmm.
somebody who comes to people's homes and fixes their cars in the garage. I've seen that. There's a lot of different industries and even very small businesses. And for not much money, you can get everyone in a neighborhood. So
Do you have any, I guess, opinion about monetizing Yelp?
So Yelp is interesting. We have to think about these things as what they call citizen journalism. It's here to stay. You go to a pizzeria, you have a good experience, a bad experience, you write about it. Yelp functions on two levels, the free level and the paid level. And the free level is decent. If you own a business and you want to claim your profile, I'll say this much. Unclaimed profiles are like abandoned buildings. And I have clients who are just deathly afraid, so they won't claim it. And I'm like, not claiming it is like just having paper in the windows of your retail store. Like it doesn't matter what business you're in, claim it. And make sure you upload pictures that make sense. So you can automatically upload a few, I don't know, 5 or 6 images of your chocolates or your floral or your legal team or your logo. Put it up. And make sure the information is correct. Your opening hours, your address if you have one, and any other information. And then the paid level, it works out to about $4 or $5 per 24 hours, billed on a monthly basis to clear off your competition, which is really important for some industries more than others. So, like if I owned a pizzeria and I just claim my Yelp profile, um, when I go searching for, XYZ pizzeria, on there will be my competition, and that's paid. So then my competitors might be paying Yelp to advertise on my profile, which is bad for business because someone might go, "Oh, I always wanted to try that other pizzeria, and now suddenly I just lost the business." If you pay them, they clear that all off. So then when somebody comes to my pizzeria page, they read all the reviews. That sounds fantastic. You've got a great cafe. You make a good salad. Your tiramisu is great. Now I get the business. So if you think about it as $5 a day, so about 150, 200 bucks a month, is it worth it to keep your competition off your Yelp page and get some other additional functionality? And that's a judgment call per business. But I would say 200 bucks a month, $1,200 a year, is it worth it or not? You got to decide that it's worth testing, and you can turn it on and off. So I would say play with Yelp. I would say yes, probably, depending on the business.
Mm. All right. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Yelp, and it kind of pins people against each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does, but
Kind of hairy.
unfortunately, yeah, it's a little scary, but if you get reviews on Yelp, like if your customers, doesn't matter your business, are writing about you on Yelp and you can respond, you can also take those testimonials. Let's say somebody writes,
Mhm.
"This was the best pizza I've ever had." You can take that and you can republish that on your social channels and say from Bob S on Yelp, "This was the best pizza I ever had," and style it using Canva. Now you're taking his little gift to you on Yelp and publishing it on your social to amplify something good. So I would say you have to work with it, make the most of it, and it's worth it. So
All right. Very good. Well, as you mentioned, you're going to send
I'll
the
send you this.
slides,
Hmm.
and this was recorded. So if you participants enjoyed what you heard and think you have someone that you'd like to share it with, I will email out everyone that registered the link along with your your slide deck, and you can feel free to share it with your friends and your network as you see fit. We'll have it posted on the library's YouTube page for the next 2 weeks. So
Thank you.
get it while it's gotten or whatever.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you for
having me.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. It was really nice hosting you, and we hope that everybody got a lot out of this program. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.